It's the Daily Doug.
Hey y'all, welcome back to the Daily Doug. Thanks for being with me today. Today, my friends, I am sharing with you a previously recorded reaction, and I'm doing so because there's a bunch of y'all that have been asking for more Frank Zappa. Doug, we need some more Zappa. Where the hell are all of your Frank Zappa reactions? Well, last month on our fan favorites video on Patreon, we got a little Frank Zappa in the mix, and I really enjoyed it, y'all. So I wanted to make sure that I included it here on YouTube for y'all. Over on our Patreon, once a month, we do fan favorites videos where people can put in their suggestions based on a topic or a genre. And last month, we were doing your favorite epic songs or songs longer than 10 minutes. And Waka Jawaka from Frank Zappa made it into our final video, and it was a lovely video, y'all. We started off with Autobahn by Kraftwerk. We then heard Frank Zappa's Waka Jawaka. I then heard Fountain of Lamneth from Rush, an early Rush tune. That was really cool. And then we finished it off with Lark's Tongue and Aspic Part 4 from King Crimson, and that just ripped my face off, y'all. It was so metal. It was really a fun long video. So that's available on my Patreon if you would like to go over there and check it out. But for today, I am very pleased to offer y'all this reaction to Waka Jawaka from Frank Zappa. We move on to our good friend Frank Zappa with something called Waka Jawaka, and I joked in Sunday's live stream that there should be a like a drinking game for every time I try to do a Fozzie Bear impression. Waka, right? It's an instrumental, so I don't think I'm going to be saying Waka Waka during the piece because there's no lyrics. But this one comes to us from Barry P. Excuse me. Thank you, Barry, for sending this one in. He says, on the title track of this 1972 studio album, Zappa uses the big band format to create a new kind of jazz rock. I'm already in. I like a big band. He says the head and outro sections use classical melodic ideas that give the music a majestic feel, while Ainsley Dunbar's splendid drumming moves it forward. The solo sections are supreme workouts, especially the 3-minute mini Moog solo by Don Preston. It's my favorite synth solo ever. Cool. He says, to me, this piece is a large ensemble performance of the highest caliber, elevated by Zappa's classical sensibility. Wonderful. Thank you for the read-in, Barry. We've got a lot of players. Frank Zappa's on guitar. Sal Marquez is on trumpet, chimes, and flugelhorn. Alex Mochowski is on bass. Ainsley Dunbar's on the drums. Mike Altschul is on a whole bunch of wind instruments. Barry sax, piccolo, bass flute, bass clarinet, tenor sax. As Barry mentioned, Don Preston is on the piano and the mini Moog. Billy Byers and Ken Schroyer are on trombones and baritone horns, and Chris Peterson is on backing vocals. Let's see what this is about, y'all. It's been a minute since I've heard some Zappa, and I'm always down for it. This one, as an epic, isn't quite as long. It's about between 11 and 12 minutes. So let's strap in and see what Frank and his big band have in store for us with Waka Jawaka. Here we go. I already love it. Woo! I think. Yeah, A major 7. I kept hearing that G sharp. I'm like, is that? No, that's not the root of the chord. That's the major 7th of the chord. Listen. Beautiful 16th notes. still feels introductory almost to me. Gotta put my chin back up. My mouth is agape with these brass players. Nice. It's like they're using... Yeah, I don't know if you can hear that. I'll turn it up. That's an A chord, A major 9. A lot of nines hanging out in these voicings, which by definition means you're in root position. This is fun, y'all. Very good call on the synth solo. It's got so much character. It's a unique solo. It's quite impressive. Fun listen. All right, Frank. Turn it off. hello. That's so freaking cool. I've never heard a voicing like that. What kind of effect are they putting on the... Y'all, I'd be dancing in my chair if my back didn't hurt. I'd be popping all over the... I gotta watch it. I can still air drum a little. Take it, Ainsley. So a recap? It's hard for me to remember. I think they're going back to that original ensemble idea. And then the drum solo acts almost like a retransition back into that idea formally. Combinations of instruments like this all doing the melody in unison or in octaves within their own octave, it gives music such a color, such a unique color. Check it. I think that's a piccolo and a flugelhorn paired together. It sounded like some military marches, the color of it, for a split second. Frank, you can't do that to me now. I think it ends the album and it just fades out. Frank, you gotta write me an ending bar. After all of that great work, Frank, come on. Can you tell? Ow, that hurt. Can you tell? I really am not a huge fan of fade outs. Mainly because, trust me, I've written my fair share of pieces, y'all. Writing the ending bar to get a conclusion to your piece, it's not normally an easy thing. So I want to hear how they did it. How did they wrap up all that stuff? I want to learn from them. And then when they just do the fade out, I'm like, oh. Plus, after all of that goodness that we heard in that, and you're right, Barry, that mini Moog solo was legit. I really, really enjoyed it. I was left a little let down by the ending section. The addition of the chimes was cool. I was missing kind of an overarching sort of heroic, sort of soaring melody, but it didn't really have that. It just kind of melded in and drifted off. Fun either way. That would be a fun album to hear. As I looked at it, I don't have it in front of me, but I think the entire first side is one big long piece, and then there's just a few songs, including this one, on the second side. That would be a fun one at some point to come back to. And there you have it, friends. Waka Jawaka from Frank Zappa. It's a really fascinating piece, isn't it? And it reminds me that I have heard some really fascinating combinations, fusions of jazz and rock, call it jazz rock, from right around this point in time in history. Waka Jawaka from Frank Zappa came out in 1972, but he's not the first to try really integrating a jazz sensibility with rock instruments. Bitches Brew by Miles Davis. We did that album over on our Patreon. That came out in 1970, and it absolutely blew it away. I mean, Miles's music in that album, it's so dense and it's so exploratory, and Frank's music is a little more measured, I believe, but also in that era we get the Intermounting Flame from the Mahavishnu Orchestra. That came out in 1971, and I remember doing an entire reaction to that album on our Patreon as well. And I love hearing how these experimental, these exploratory, these improvisational ideas that come out of the jazz tradition get brought into a more rock and roll ensemble with the instrumentation and how everything kind of comes together. It's really a fascinating sound, and I'd love to continue listening to music like this. So if there are other examples of jazz rock or jazz fusion that you would like for me to hear, put it in the comments and I will try to take a look as soon as I am able. But that's going to be all for me today. I have enjoyed getting to share with you my reaction to Waka Jawaka by Frank Zappa. Thanks, y'all. We'll see you next time on another edition of The Daily Doug.